Hello, everyone. Joel here. As promised, we're going to talk a little bit about Partscasters. I got a nice new haircut for the occasion. Once every, I do this like once every, 3 times a year. Once every 3 times a year. Once every 3 months, 4 months. I don't know, something. So the Partscasters. I think I'll do at least a couple of these. The first one is kind of just a tour of some of the guitars I built. I built 8, kind of between since 2023, I think I started doing this. Yeah, too many. I still own, I think, 4 of them. I think they're going to be in the thumbnail. The first one was really kind of my practice run. I ended up giving it to my partner. It's this Peach Telly. Mundy caster for my partner Mundy. This one, I cannot remember where I got it. It's actually a really nice body. It's alder. It's pretty light. I got it, I want to say eBay somewhere, one of those sellers, and it happened to get lucky. This is one of the rare cases where kind of going with a cheaper body worked out. I found that is lesson one, kind of, their bodies and necks don't really you shouldn't cut corners on this, but this one did okay. This was a fairly inexpensive build, and this is probably the exception. I've done a few more that I no longer have, or they've been parted out. But this one turned out okay. I think this is a Mighty Mite neck. It's like a soft V. Bootstrap pickups. They're a small business in Ohio. I'll talk a little bit about them, but kind of pretty cool things. It turned out well. I got this bridge and the tuners right here from our dearly departed GNL. They were doing a big sale on parts. So I bought a bunch. I really like these kind of split shaft tuners they have. They're kind of a combination between your modern, like 10 millimeter, and your vintage style. And I always like I favor the slotted tuning heads. So I got a bunch of those. I got some of these ASAP bridges, which are cool. They're kind of like, you get the brass roller saddles, but you get 6 of them instead of 3, so they'll intonate a little better. But this was kind of the first one. Actually, it went through a couple of iterations. There was an even cheaper body that I got started with, and everything was like, the measurements were kind of off and nothing really lined up. So I kind of tossed it, and I found this for not much. And I think I tried to paint the first one. I'm not really good at painting guitars, so I got that. This one is already finished. It's like a poly. And it was kind of my practice run. And my partner who plays a little guitar, I was like, okay, I let them pick out the color and stuff. So that was kind of fun. They play it once in a while. So that was kind of a practice run. My next one has gone through a few iterations as well. This is a Strat. I hadn't had a Strat since I was like in my 20s. Still not a huge Strat guy. And this was cool. Curtis Novak pickups, got Callahan bridge. This one I went a little more in with quality components. MJT aged body in copper. It's alder. The neck, there have been a few necks on this one. Right now I've got it's a Fender Subsonic Baritone made in Mexico necks. Also, Fender's Ensenada plant makes some great necks, and I'll get a little more in this, but if you really like the Player 2 series, excellent necks. So, and they usually out of the box, the frets are really good. There's like no sharp frets. Everything is nice and level. I didn't really need to level the frets on any of them. So definitely don't sleep on those Fender aftermarket necks. And they sell a few of them, but this is, the baritone. It's a 27-inch scale. It's, gets low. It sounds really cool as a baritone. And I've kind of just left that way. I have another, like, I think it's a 50s V Strat neck in the closet that I sometimes put on here when I want standard. But I've just left the baritone. It's kind of cool. Next up, this is kind of the pride and joy of my collection. So I was doing, I think I was really kind of enamored with Julian Lage, and I still am really, but what he did with like just a basic Blackguard Telly, or it's not any Blackguard Telly, it's a Nachocaster, so it's like a $9,000 one. But I was like, maybe I can do a version of this and kind of get something more of like a 52 Blackguard type of thing going. This is once again another MJT. I'll mention. I went to elementary school in Carthage, Missouri, which is where they are based. So kind of cool to give a little love to the hometown. Got some Lawler 52T pickups in it, just kind of vintage. And then a Musicraft neck. I'm kind of no logo, just a really good. They have an actual Blackguard series, which has this special kind of taper that the Tadeo taper is, which is the kind of legendary thing for those really great 50s Blackguards. So I sprung for that, and this is thing. It's a very simple guitar, but like everything in it is top quality, and it turned out great. And it is a joy to play. It sounds fantastic. Maybe when again I ever get my like audio thing set up, I have the stuff. I just need to get go. And I have a really good direct setup for this, but I got to play, and I want to make sure it sounds nice for you. And I've been busy. I've been taking guitar lessons, by the way, and the guy's working me hard, which I need, but so I'm not really working on repertoire so much, at least for my own stuff. It's really just kind of stuff. What practice time I have is kind of working on the exercises and pieces that my guitar teacher has assigned to me, and I'm also just doing a lot of stuff that are covers, and I feel weird playing covers, but I'm digressing. But yeah, this thing's really cool. Pine body, pretty light. I think it's around a little over, I think it's in the 7.5 pound range. But yeah, feels great. Just love it. It's got a pretty substantial neck. I think it's a D profile, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's not a baseball bat, but it's still enough to you definitely feel it in your hands. And it's right where it's about the upper limit of what I like. Kind of that, and that GNL that I did a video on the other day is pretty similar. After that, I just kind of got the bug. So I don't own these next few anymore. There was a silver one. I think I got it from the same place that I got the peach body. I built another one. I had the GNL parts. I put the MFD for the classic. It's the smaller MFDs. I did those for that, and it's got like I think it was another Mighty Mite neck on that one. It was kind of a cheap one, but it ended up being a really good guitar. But it was just not really giving me anything I didn't already have in other guitars, especially at the time I had an ASAT Classic, which that was kind of my attempt at recreating. But it wasn't as good. But I sold it, and the person who got it got a really cheap, nice guitar for very, very cheap. Because that's the other thing about Partscasters. It doesn't matter how well made it is. You're not going to get what you put into them unless you have like a name people recognize, because they want a fender on the headstock, or at the very least, if you're maybe a Nash or a K-Line or one of those other kind of boutique makers of like Fender style guitars. So yeah, you're not gonna, unless you have the brand recognition, you're not. No one's gonna pay any money for what you made. Then I went with Warmoth, and I started doing these things, kind of hand finished my own, and I did it in a butterscotch blonde. I kind of was going for more of a 70s thing. Got another Musicraft neck on it. And that was really cool. And I actually had that one till fairly recently. It was redundant, and I have too many damn guitars. And the one thing I liked, I had that TV Jones Starwood pickup and neck, and that was a really neat, really bright, just really like hi-fi kind of sounding neck pickup. And it was cool. I sort of miss it. And I put a Bigsby on it because I'd always wanted a Telecaster with a Bigsby. Um, Turns out, that just kind of makes them heavy. I think there's something it does. I don't know. People argue about this, but like a Telecaster. I did that in an earlier video, but like, I guess you have Jim Campolongo, and he makes a Tele sound great, of course. But a lot of the time, I found in my personal experience, the string through does something. And there's just something a little more meaty or something. Seems like when you go top load or put a Bigsby on it, it loses something. I don't really know what that is, but it didn't the tone didn't grab me, especially that Blackguard is so wonderful and the bar is so high. I've really never found a Telecaster that will give me that what I imagine a Telecaster should sound like. That is the gold standard, and that Blackguard I will die with that guitar. I don't say that about many, but that is one I will hold on to forever. So this Warmoth is pretty cool. So I got into kind of doing these wood tone hand rub finishes and decided to try it with cherry. I thought it'd be cool to do Jazzmaster Telemaster, Jazzcaster hybrid. So again, did that. Bigsby, I think that's all parts neck on there. Really cool neck. I'll have to look this up. But when we talk about parts in the next video, I'll have to get the name of the place. But there's a seller on Reverb that kind of finishes and kind of does leveling and crowning and stuff with all parts necks, and then marks them up a little bit and resells them. And that thing was really, really nice. I really like the neck. Then I think after that there was my second Strat, which was fine. I got it. It has a like 50. They call it a 60s hybrid Japanese neck. I don't know if when they label those, I think they just make it up, because I don't think 60 Strats were anything like that thing. It's got a fairly like chunky use, too much. That was like the one that was over the line as far as like how much neck meat there was. Neck meat. But you know what I'm saying. It was just too much, and that is not what my impression of 60 Strat necks were. Nice, and everything Fender Japan I've ever owned has been amazing, and for somebody it's great. It just wasn't for me, and it was like super big neck, the really thin the vintage frets, which I'm not a fan of, and it just, as a player, it was not mine. And that was the one where it has nice components. There's that Fender neck. There's a Porter pickups, which are great pickups. But at the end of the day, I'm not a Strat guy. I mean, the copper one is kind of special to me. That was like my first serious build, and I'll hold on to that. And I really do like it as a baritone, but for most regular guitar playing, Strats are my thing. So that one's kind of in pieces. I'm not gonna pull that out right now because I've been pulling it apart harvesting it to sell parts. But it was a kind of two-tone sunburst. Really nice nitro finish by a guy named Bloom Doom. Also down in Southwest Missouri, similar deal, does like nitro finishes on. He's got an eBay store that you can check out. But again, we'll go into this. And then my last one, which what I said about Strats, I don't count this. Got a pile going here. There we go. This one I feel like this is kind of where I peaked. Maybe not peaked, but like everything I've been doing, working up to, this is the one I've been working up to. And I love this guitar so much. It is what we call a hybrid Strat, or what Warmoth calls a hybrid Strat. It's kind of Telecaster, kind of Strat. So you got the kind of Tele bridge. This is another G&L ASAT bridge I put in here. Pickups are from Curtis Novak. This is the Cojones Tele, and this is their P90. Took a little work. It is a hotter bridge pickup for a Telecaster, but compared to that P90, it's getting imbalanced. Like, so I've got the pull pieces on that P90 set really, really low, but sounds wonderful. And this is really light. It's a swamp ash body. It's Warmoth. This is one I did. It's an open grain finish. You can kind of see I did with the wood tone. Pretty cool little way of doing things, and it doesn't have a lot of noxious chemicals, and you don't have to spray anything. You just do lots and lots of coats of hand rubbing. So that was a fun project. Little touches like the little ruby red switch top. But yeah, and this is a Fender, another Ensenada Mexico neck. It's a Strat for the Player 2 series. Nice. And this is the other end of the extreme from my kind of Blackguard. I wanted something that was a little bit of a, not shreddery neck profile, but something smaller and faster. I can kind of, if I wanted to do kind of something with more lead, I just, because I don't really have a lot of guitars with very thin necks, at least not Tele or Tele adjacent, because this is more of a Tele to me than a Strat. It's just, but you got the belly cut and the arm contour, and it's a comfortable guitar. So that's the nice thing about Strats. My deal with Strats more is about kind of the sound of them, which this definitely does not sound like a Strat. It's definitely more of a cousin to a Tele. And I play this one a lot. It's a lot of fun, and it's just different. This is the fun thing with Partscasters, is you can just, and I've experimented, like trying that Telecaster Jazzmaster hybrid, which I don't know, I never gelled with it, but and I finally my playing has gone away from using vibrato bars as much, so kind of now I was like, yeah, good hardtail, string through body. So this is the one I think, this is one of my, I rotate, but this is definitely in the rotation with my kind of daily players that I'm always picking up. Those are my Partscasters. So, we got a big pile now, because I've put them all over here on the picture in the thumbnail was what they looked like before. But that's it. Next time, like I said, I'll give you some more details. I'll find some links of good places to look if you're interested in like for bodies, necks, pickups, just things I've had good experience with. This isn't an endorsement, like a official advertisement or endorsement. This is just me telling you based on my experience what I like. Because it's a lot if you're getting into this, and there's a lot of garbage out there. So it's good to know kind of places and things that are good values and those kind of things, because it's an expensive hobby. And again, like I said, you'll never get your money back. You do this because you like it. And if you really are deliberate and can be, I think my Blackguard was the best example of that. If you're really building like the guitar that you want to play for yourself, it's a great way to go. Because if you take your time, you buy the right parts, you can spend $1,500 and get a guitar that I think is on par with like a boutique Nash or a custom shop Fender. Take your time, measure twice, do all the things, but it does pay off. So more on that later. So thanks. I'll talk to you later.